Hey, hey. I hope everyone can hear me. We are live from my tasting room, as you can see. Oh. Hey, y'all. Hey. Hey, Charles. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Leslie. Y'all can hear me okay? Hopefully. See, we're waiting for Chastity to pop in here. In the meantime, what are y'all drinking? Okay, cool. Oh, you can't hear me? No. Oh. I see that, Charles. How is your dry January going? I'm sure you're ready for the weekend. No, that's good. Let's see. There we go. And Chastity is in the room. So we can get this party started. Oh. Hold on.
Hello.
There we go. Hi.
Girl, if I told you all the things I just did in these last 30 minutes, you'd be like, why are you doing the most? I'm here though.
Well,
Hello.
you're here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey y'all. Hey everybody. Happy New Year. Shayna, how are
New
you?
Year. I'm good. Trying to stay warm. It's too cold here. But you in
I
Chicago,
was about to say,
so
we had a warm
no.
front today. It was like 30, it was
Oh,
like
did
40
you?
degrees. It was
Oh,
it was a
nice.
summer. It was a summertime.
It's warmer there than it is here then.
Yeah. My sister is in DC and she just moved there and she was like, yeah, they had a little dusting. I was like, I'm sure they did have a dusting in the DMV.
We actually got like what was it last week? Like 6 to 8 inches.
That's
Surprisingly.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, honestly, we got our first snow of the year, like around New Year's, so like New Year's Eve, New Year's
Mhm.
Day. But I
Mhm.
mean, I've been in the house, so
Yeah.
quite frankly, I ain't been nowhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the snow is melting. It's nice. It's weird for it to be so warm this time of year, but I'm not complaining. Because
Yes.
I'd rather it be like not ice because it was really bad, like icy. It was
Mhm.
really icy and really like just cold last week. But I mean,
Mhm.
I'm cool with this. Like I don't mind
Yeah.
snow in like over 35 degrees, but when it's
Gotcha.
like snow too cold, then yeah, I'm not going nowhere. So
Right.
anyway,
Understood.
yeah,
Plus Omarion's outside, so
Omarion is outside.
yeah.
Omarion, Omarosa, like whoever you want to call it. Omarion is still outside. Omarosa is
Yes.
outside. I just opened my Albariño with my Pour Pairings
Nice.
corkscrew, which is, oh my gosh,
Yay.
I'm obsessed. This is amazing. This is
Yay.
so handy. But yeah, I'm so happy
Good.
you invited me to do this. Like, I will
Me
obviously get
too.
into it, but yes, I love España. That's where my whole
Mhm.
journey started. But let me get out of journalist mode because I'm the one being interviewed. I'm not interviewing tonight. So,
Right. So let's get started with if you want to tell the peoples a little bit about Chasity S. Cooper,
yes.
wine journalist extraordinaire.
Yeah, so I'm Chasity Cooper. I am a writer, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a wine culture expert. Shout out to Miriam Ahmed, who I actually just went through one of her
Yes.
strategy audits, and that was one of the things that came out of that. So, I mean, yes,
Mhm.
I'm a journalist, yes, I'm, you know, all these things, but the way I'm moving forward, at least in 2022 and, you know, a couple years
And
beyond,
beyond.
is
Mhm.
writer, entrepreneur, wine culture expert.
Mhm.
And I mean, over the course of time, you all will see the content I share, the things I write about. I'll break that down. But for tonight, yeah, I'm Chasity. I love wine. Um, Born in Texas, raised in Chicago. Hey, Happy Cork. That's my family in Brooklyn. Um, let's see. I fell in love with wine, oh my gosh, almost 12 years ago. I
Mhm.
was studying abroad in España. I was going into my senior
Mhm.
year of college. And one of the last excursions that we did was to a vineyard in the, oh gosh, I always forget the region, but it's called Bottega Mantiu. And so get off the bus. It's hot. Looks like it's about to rain. There's a lot of things going on. And I'm just
Mhm.
like smitten. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I had no idea about wine at the time. I mean, I'd seen
Mhm.
Barefoot, I'd seen Yellowtail
Of
being a college
course.
student.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, went through the whole song and dance. They showed us the cellar. They showed us the way in which the wine is made. They showed us the vineyard. And I remember coming back to the States being like, that was cool. And so went on,
Mhm.
graduated, and um, moved to DC after I graduated from college. And a little show on ABC called Scandal, which actually it debuted
Mhm.
10 years ago in April. So I'm definitely going
Okay.
to write about that.
Rewatch.
Um,
Okay.
but that was again it was another touch point of wine for me because I was like, look at this
Mhm.
Black woman who runs stuff drinking wine. I was like, oh,
Yes.
I can be like
And the
her
beautiful
too.
glasses.
In the beautiful glasses, okay, drinking
Yes.
French wine, saying French words. I was like, oh, boo,
Mhm.
I'm not there yet, but I can go to
Right.
Giant, find, yeah, that is part of my story, and I love telling that. Shout out to Kerry Washington. Like, even though she doesn't drink, like I need her to know that.
Right.
But I remember, going to Giant and whatever was under $10, that was what I could afford at the time. I would buy it.
Mhm.
Albariño is one of those. Malbec from Argentina. That was like my first
Yes.
love.
Yep.
Um, so fast forward a couple years, so Scandal definitely like impacted my interaction with wine because Olivia would eat popcorn and drink wine, and that
Mhm.
was her vice. 2016 was really another turning point for me because I was like, yo, I love wine, but I don't know how this is gonna manifest. So I would start blogging about it, go to different spots in DC, wine shops, wine bars, write about them on my blog. Whoever read it, they read it. And then
Yep.
I worked at Grand Cata for about 6 months before I moved to Brooklyn. But that experience also for me was so pivotal because I was not only like talking about wine and selling it. At that time, we obviously didn't have to wear masks, so it was like a little bit
Mhm.
easier to engage with people. But
Yeah.
I remember Pedro and Julio put me on the spot one time. They're like, "Yo, write a tasting note about this Gavi from Italy." I was like, "Challenge accepted, cool."
Right.
And so when I did research, I tasted it, I did all these things, sent it to the entire staff, and Pedro had hit me up. He was like, "Did you write this?" I said, "First of all, yes. Secondly, yeah, like I did what y'all told me to do." So I think for
Right.
me at that moment, there was also another like, yo, there's something here. Fast forward a couple more years, I'd say to 2019, 2018, I took my first W set in New York City, passed it. That was another time somebody tried me. I pulled up to the test the day of, forgot to pick up my materials. And the girl behind the desk was like, "Hey, you know the test is today," because it was a 1-day intensive. I was like,
Okay.
well, obviously today is the day that we're taking the test. Boop. So I passed it, whatever. And I've taken levels 2 and 3 since then. I've passed them with distinction and merit. So now I'm here. I'm like, writing full time. I'm, writing about wine. I love spirits. Hey, Yoli. Hey, Matt. Hi, friends. And so, yeah, that's like my wine story. There's other nuances, like other parts I was thinking about the other day, like, and I've told friends, like, wine is kind of parallel with like my dating life too, which I will get into like in a book or two from now. It's wild. It's so funny because I think the guys at the time that I would date would try to impress me with how they would order wine, and I laugh about it now because I'm like, that's cute. So yeah, that's kind of like the story in a nutshell. I've written for a number of different outlets. Y'all can go to my website, chastitycooper.com, and see all of those clips. But yeah, I love wine. I love talking about it. I love tasting it. I love walking people through it and kind of empowering them to explore their palate in a different way. I think a lot of times when it comes to wine, we're told what we should taste and what we should smell, but I'm just here. And I think a lot of what you do too with Pour Pairings is really just give people the chance and the space to explore what tastes good with this and what do you pick up. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too.
Right. Yep, exactly. So we met in August of last year at the Wine and Culture Fest.
Yes.
Shout out to Hughes Society for setting that up. And I was the new wine, the newbie in the scene, and still kind of nervous to even talk about Pour Pairings. And we had some long and awesome conversations about the boxes. And you volunteered. You said, "Let me know. I'll do it. Just tell me." And so I hit you up like, "Are you ready?"
Yes. Here we are.
And here we are. Yes.
And I think something to mention though too is we were like, we interacted. You like casually told me that this was what you were doing. And I was like, wait a minute now, girl, hold on. You mean to tell me you are curating boxes, subscription boxes on a monthly basis and sending them out to people and encouraging them to pair them with like things that you're curating? I was like, first of all, that's dope. Secondly, yeah, I think we were sitting at the brunch and I was like, yeah, like hit me up and I'll do the January box because my birthday's in January and it'll work out. So I'm super thrilled that like you held me to that. And I just love that we were casually having tacos in Ponce Market. You were telling me about this. I was like, yo, like this is so dope. I was like, however I can support what you're doing, please let me know. Like, I think that within our industry, there are so many different pockets and so many different things that we can do to really bring, wine to life. And with Pour Pairings, what you're doing is so dope because it's like, yeah, I'm like all about wine. Can I suggest things to pair it with? Sure. But like for you to like put your energy into curating. Like curation is like a skill that not everybody has. But when you hit me up last month, you're like, yo, January box. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, let me buy a December box to see what this is like, just to kind of, I'm a nerd. So I'm like, okay, let me see what this is like. Y'all, when I got the December box that was paired with champagne, I was like, oh, I just got some champagne laying around. I was blown away at how thoughtful. It wasn't just sweet. It wasn't just savory. It was both. And I think you aim to do that. And I tried to do that with my box, although I think like it's a lot of salty, but that's just España, like for y'all, it works.
Yes, it works. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited for what is to come, and it's just the perfect time now since we still inside for people to support Pour Pairings and get a box and be able to take your taste to the next level.
Yep. We, excuse me, definitely appreciate you offerings out. It honestly means a lot to me, and I'm glad that you see value in what I'm doing. And so this month you picked out one of your favorite wines, and it is the Albariño. I know I have my bottle here, so I've been sipping on. And also, so if you haven't, we started working with the Wine Concierge. So if you go to at the Wine Concierge on Instagram, they have a Pour Pairings collection where you can find the wines that Chasity has picked out specifically for this box. But what is it about Albariño that you love?
I love Albariño. Let me count the ways. I think for starters, it's such a wonderful grape, and it's such a grape that gives a sense of place. So for everybody watching, I'm about to go real wine nerd on y'all.
Yes, go wine nerd.
Hold on. Java, do not go into the kitchen. Thank you so much, my dog. But Albariño is a white wine grape from Spain, specifically the Rías Baixas region. Something cool about Rías Baixas is that it's there's 5 subzones within that one region, and each subzone has its own unique soil composition. So you know, if you're like more north, you might get more limestone in your soil. If you're more south, the grape variety will express itself in a different way. So maybe you might get more tropical fruit. So it really does depend. I love this particular grape because it's light, it's zesty, it's refreshing. It's definitely a porch pounder in the spring and summertime. One of the bottles that I chose, you have one. Paco y Lola is one of my favorites. I found La Caña at Benny's, and I was like, ooh, I'm so glad I didn't get the one that you got, because we would have had the same wine, but it still would have been fine. And for me, it's like it's a great wine that goes really well with seafood. So if any seafood lovers, ceviche, you know, if you think about oysters or mussels or clams, like this is a really good wine to not only drink but to cook with. And it's just light and refreshing, and it definitely gives you a sense of place. Lots of green fruit notes, so green apple, pear, citrus. It's like I said, it's affordable. Like anything that's like under 20, and people are like, you like wines under $20? Yes, I do. Because we still like to be budget friendly over here. Even though I do have some things that are, you know,
a little on the pricey side.
Quite pricey, and I like to splurge every now and then. But you know, there's even in my glass right now, there's a little, like I see tiny little bubbles, so there's slight effervescence. But it's flavorful, it's approachable. Anyone I've ever recommended Albariño to, they've never been like, ooh, I don't like it. They've always been like, I didn't know about this grape, or I never thought about it. So for me, it's better to always, when I think about Spain, of course you have Tempranillo, you have Rioja, which is from the Tempranillo grape. But I always like to think of like the light, fun grape varieties that come from the region as well.
Yep. I like this wine because although we have the Pour Pairings box, it's not something, because, you know, sometimes some wines really need food. You have to have food in order to enjoy all of the nuances of the wine. This wine is very easy drinking. Like you said, it's affordable. Like I don't have to have anything to eat with it. But if I do like the things that are in the box, it just makes it that much better.
Mm-hmm.
The salty with the acidity and the cheeses and all of that. Even the sardines. And I'm not a huge sardines person, but it works. It works.
You know, when I was curating the box, I was like, she's probably gonna beat me up because I'm putting sardines in here. But again, it gives you like a sense of place. Funny enough, like I'd chosen the wine chips, the Manchego wine chips, and I actually have Manchego cheese here from another tasting I did earlier. And Manchego is just, when I think of Spain, I think of sangria, I think of cheese, I think of jamon.
Yep.
There's so many different, like paella, there's so many different elements of Spanish cuisine and just Spanish culture that I love.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, the sardines, like they're spicy, but they're like rich, and the high acidity in the Albariño helps to like cut through that. The Marcona almonds, like you guys can definitely like just eat these as a snack. But again, the salty with the high acid helps to kind of cut through, and it gives you a really pleasant tasting experience.
Right. It is very, very nice. So I know we talked about some of the things that are in the box, but we can go over what all you picked out for this box. Now, when I tell you this box is packed, it's heavy, there's it's literally filled.
It's full of
There's
all the
no
things.
space, yes, for anything else in there. Yeah. So we talked about the Marcona almonds, and honestly, I've never had Marcona almonds before, but like when you think of almonds, like I eat almonds all the time.
Right.
These are different. The fried and salted, like I haven't had cooked almonds before. And this with the wine, it's just like I could eat the whole container just sitting there chilling.
No, absolutely.
Like popcorn. Yeah.
Just because they're buttery, they're creamy. And sorry, y'all, that I'm eating, but like just demonstration. There's a little bit of a bitter note in the end with the almonds. But I think it helps to bring out the floral qualities of the wine when you like sip the wine, taste the almond, sip the wine again. I'm definitely getting a lot of bitter notes in the back of my palate. But again, they're salty, really creamy. They're not like the almonds that grow in California with the skin on them.
Right.
Completely different. Definitely a richer type of almond, but it's definitely like, again, it reminds me of Spain. And when you think about tapas, like if you pull up to a restaurant, maybe you get a charcuterie board, or you're just waiting to get your food, it's always going to be almonds, Marcona almonds, and olives. Like that's what you're going to be noshing on before you get your paella or whatever you decide to order.
Right.
But yeah, they're good. I know these are going to go fast in my house. So.
Yeah. And we talked about the Manchego wine chips, of course.
Yes.
I love wine chips. Wine chips is just good. I haven't had any bad wine chips, and I know they recommend certain wines to pair with them on the container, but they go with so many more varieties of wine, and that Manchego. So I'm not I like mild cheeses. I don't like the funky stuff. I don't like the strong cheeses. I'm not a huge fan of those.
Not a blue cheese fan?
No, not at all. I like when you think of like Havarti.
Okay.
Like that mild. I'm on that end of it. And that's what I typically buy for my charcuterie boards because I don't want it attacking my taste buds.
Sure, yeah. Totally understandable. For sure.
But the chips, yep. I would say those Manchego chips, a great choice for the box also.
Thank you.
And And let's see what else we have. Oh, the Cabernet Sauvignon and cheddar cheese spread.
Yes, that is in the fridge right now. I know. I was like, I know I'm forgetting something. It's going to be open tomorrow.
Yes.
I chose that because I thought it would be a different expression of cheese. Like, and it's like cheese made with wine, which a lot of people, I mean, myself included, I don't interact with a lot. And so when you think about, like when I think about cheese, like the cheese spread, I think about summer sausage and like, you know, all of, you know, those like things you used to buy when you were fundraising for school. Like it always be like summer sausage and cheese. And so I thought it was just really cool that the producers of the cheese were like, let's like crank it up a notch and throw some Cab Sav in it. And again, like Cab Sav is, you know, a very global grape. Really not one, I mean, you can find it in Spain, but it's not one that they're like, hey, we, you know, make Cab Sav. Like that's not their jam. But I thought it was a kind of cool add-on. Like everything else, with the exception of that, is like definitely Spanish, and that was just like curveball. I'm throwing y'all something different.
Yes, but on the charcuterie board with the cheese, and we talked about the spicy sardines, with the cheese and what is it? The sea salt crackers to make it perfect.
Yes.
Along with the quince paste.
Yes.
Now, I never knew what quince was until I started studying wine. And they're in all of the wine notes. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what's a gooseberry?
Exactly. What's a gooseberry? What's quince?
Right.
You know, I threw this in here, one, because again, thinking of Spain, but for those who do get the box, like you could spread this over toast. Like I'll probably do that this weekend. It's definitely something like you can, it's 3 ingredients. It's quince, pure cane sugar, and lemon juice. If you, like me, growing up, when I was like hungry but not really hungry, I would take peanut butter, jelly, mix it together, and eat it. That's a fact that I have not ever shared publicly, but there you go. Saw this quince paste. But again, like I said, you can add it to yogurt, oatmeal, if that's your jam. But I definitely find me putting this on top of some toast tomorrow or Friday for breakfast. In case, like for everybody who's watching, it's gonna give you like an apple-y. It's like isn't there like a cross between an apple and a pear? Like I might be making that up, but I feel like that's
what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a cross between an apple and a pear. So yeah, give it a try. It's definitely something different.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to opening it. Yeah.
Yes. But I like it with the so the spicy sardines with, I always love sweet and spicy. Like those two things go together amazingly for me, and I'm always going to choose those contrasts for anything that I eat typically. But yes, on the crackers, the paste with the spicy sardines, it's heaven.
I would even push it a note farther and do like the cracker, the quince paste, and then the manchego. If you have manchego cheese, or
gotcha, okay.
Or you could do like, you know, dip a chip.
Yep. I'll try it with the chips.
Yeah. It's like, it's just, food is so awesome that you can just kind of like mix and match it all the time. And I think with this box, I was just looking to create things that would last beyond just being paired with the wine, if that makes sense. So with the sardines, I mean, sardines and crackers, sardines, like that's a hood delicacy for those who know, they know. I remember like when I was making something a couple months ago, and I was like, I have to get sardines for this. And my mom was like, yo, we used to like eat those for snack. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, that's like a hood delicacy. I was like, bet.
Yeah.
So that's why I added the sardines.
Nice. And well, it works. It's everything in this box is amazingly delicious together and on its own. So it definitely stands on its own. And then, so we talked about the food, but we also have some little fun wine accessories. So we have some coasters. Some of them, depending on which box you have, they have a bunch of different sayings.
Some of them might have swear words on them. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
And then okay, so I know and I read about you loving double hinged corkscrews and wine openers.
Yes.
Tell us why this is your favorite tool.
Oh my gosh. First of all, this is so well crafted. I love how sturdy this one in particular is. So shout out to you. But the reason why I love them so much is because, I mean, you have like the rabbit ones, the old school ones that we all typically have in our household, because like sometimes we don't want to go through the whole, song and dance of opening a wine bottle. But I love double hinge corkscrews because like there's something so regal and classic about them. Like I'll give an example. I'm gonna like open a bottle. Is this no? Okay, so I'll open one right now. So when I was in Italy a couple months ago, we went to like our last night. We went to this really cool restaurant, and I noticed that the sommeliers were open, like they were opening, because typically when you learn about opening a wine bottle, you open at the second lip, you go around and pull it off, clean, cut off. In Italy, they do it differently. So they cut the first lip, and in the restaurant, they didn't cut all the way. They cut like almost before you opened it. And like they opened it, and like the top of, and I'm trying to do this perfectly. I'm just going to cheat a little bit. But like the top hung off like this, and they put the they like opened it twice. So they put the cork, once they opened the bottle, they put the cork in like this little hat here. And I was like, yo, I got to do that at home. So clearly, sometimes when I'm feeling fancy, I will open my wine bottles, just the first lip, and then stick the cork in and be like, ooh, I'm fancy. That's real Italian. But tonight I did the traditional route. I just, opened the second lip, quick cut. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's just so traditional, so classic when I think about, way before I started studying wine, in my exposure to seeing how wine bottles would be opened. I just would see this, and even in going to wine bars and working in one, the bartenders, the sommeliers would always have this in their pocket, whip it out, do kind of some karate and open the bottle. And so I just think this one is sturdy. Like this is one of my favorite ones, and I have like three that are my favorite. This is the new one to the collection. Hey. So yeah, I'm obsessed with just how sturdy they are, how I mean, y'all, this is beautiful. Like, just take a look at it. Like, it's almost like it's like my own pocket knife. You have a little knife there. You have the way you open, like the cork remover. You have obviously the corkscrew. I remember one time I was going through the airport and I forgot that I had one in my backpack, and they pulled me to the side. And I was like, gee, what did I do now? And they were like, ma'am, you can't. I was like, dang. And I really liked that corkscrew. So I was like, you can have it. You can have it.
Yes.
It's fine. So yeah, my obsession with them, and the cool thing is like I get them in like press packages. So like if I get wine, sometimes there'll be a corkscrew, with them, and I'm like, oh great, that's wonderful. But yeah, it's just a part of like my kind of nerdish way of loving wine accessories and tools, and
Gotcha.
it's a great thing.
Definitely
They're
makes you
great.
feel official
Yes,
for
very
sure.
official and
Yes.
efficient.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
um, so we we have the box
Mhm.
and we have the wine. What are some other things that you like to eat with your Albariño?
Great question. Um, I'm a huge seafood lover, and
Mhm.
because like when I think of Albariño, yeah, you can drink it any time of year, but again, spring, summer is like peak Albariño season. Um,
Mhm.
Ceviche, shrimp cocktail. I'm trying to think of other like oysters would be good with Albariño.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think of things that probably I'll talk more about things that won't go with Albarino, because I think when you hear how light and fun it is. I mean, this is definitely a great salad wine. So you think about, like I said,
Mhm.
ceviche, you think about fun summer salads,
Yep.
perfect. Those that are kind of on the herbal side, I think of fennel. Like if you had, like
Mhm.
wanted to make a fennel salad or a slaw, great pairing with that. Things that don't go
Mhm.
with Albariño. Um, don't go too heavy on like meats or like anything saucy. Like you are not going to be pleased with that.
Right.
Definitely the lighter, flakier fishes. So like
Mhm.
um you could do cod, halibut. Um, you could even push it and do tilapia. I'd probably
Mhm.
stop there. Um,
Yes.
any like salmon's a little too fatty for
Yeah.
our friend Albariño.
Yes.
I would even do like, Asian cuisine. So like you think about sweet and sour, or Chinese food. So sweet and sour chicken, General
Mhm.
So chicken. Like I would definitely pair that with this, just because of its high acidity, because of the green fruit forwardness, the
Mhm.
citrus in this wine. I would definitely like steer that way. I would steer clear of like heavy meats, pasta. I mean, you could totally like do like a very light pasta. I'm saying light, like
Mhm.
cacio e pepe, which just remember I got Parmesan in the fridge.
Mm.
I'm gonna make me
Cacio
that on.
pepe. Yes.
Yo, I'm making that Friday night for dinner. Boom. Um, think on the lighter side of food, like
Mhm.
light fare. But
Yeah.
Shayna, as you said earlier, this is good by itself. Like this bottle hopefully will make it
Yep.
tomorrow, and if it doesn't,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
yeah.
It
So
was good while it
it
lasted.
was good while it lasted.
Yes. So, um, I like to think of, so we have like classic, when we're talking about pairings, we have classic pairings like champagne and fried chicken and
Hmm.
Cabernet and steak. Do
Yeah.
you have any pairings that people would look at you like, what? But it just works?
Yes, I do. I have. I'm thinking more of like whenever I share about my experiences with wine, I always like to share the things not to do. And this
Hmm.
story, like, I don't know if I've told you before, but like sometime last year, one of my like guilty snacks, one of the snacks I loved growing up as a kid, Flamin' Hots. I'm from Chicago.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you know, like growing up going to like the corner store in middle school after school, we would, they top the Flamin' Hots with ground beef, cheese, jalapenos. Like it's very like it's a Chicago thing. That's how we would take our Flamin' Hots. Anyway,
Hmm.
sometime last spring, or maybe this was 2 years ago. Not like it was in the midst of the pandemic, even though we're still in it. I was like,
Hmm.
yo, it was in 2020. I was like, yo, I'm hungry because that's how I start the way I think. Like I'm hungry, and Flamin' Hot Cheeto Puffs. Like, it's very specific. Like, Flamin' Hots are great, but Flamin' Hot Cheeto Puffs are like, that's a way to my heart. So it's like, oh gee, I bought these, and I think I had just done something with the McBride sisters Sparkling Brute. I was like, all right,
Okay.
G, let's try this. Let's see how it goes. Do not do that. So I poured some Flamin' Hots in a little container. I was like, oh, Flamin' Hots, boom, boom, boom. Pour me some sparkling, and y'all, they're great on their own. Flamin' Hot Cheeto Puffs, amazing. The McBride sisters Sparkling Brute is one of my favorite sparkling rosés. But together, they just didn't quite curl. And I remember my mouth feeling like the 4th of July was on fire. I was like overwhelmed. I might have started sweating. And I was like, yo, I'm never going to do this again. But I have to tell people not to do it, because I think when you think about spicy foods, you're like, oh, I need something that's like, you know, that's going to help cool it down or like maybe build it up. And you mentioned, you know, champagne and fried chicken. The reason why that works so well is because champagne is so acidic. It's so bubbly. And then fried chicken is crispy, crunchy, salty, oily. So like perfect, you know, combination. For me, I love some of my favorite pairings. Whenever my mom makes gumbo, Riesling.
Oh yes,
perfect. Like, and Coney would like run with that because she loves being able to pair, and she's a fellow Texan too. She loves pairing like those, you know, Southern foods together. Riesling and gumbo, chef's kiss. I think about one that I'm actually going to try. So again, Chicagoan to Chicago End. One of our delicacies that I recently wrote about is the pizza puff. And so if you've never been to Chicago, next time you come, hit me up. I got you. And I will take you to get your first pizza puff. Basically, a pizza puff is it's Italian ground beef, cheese, sauce in a fried flour tortilla, and it's delicious. And I tweeted about it, and 2 wine writers were like, yo, I got to come to Chicago. I was like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And another one jumped in, and she was like, I'll bring the Lambrusco. And I was like, no, gotta do that. Ooh. So Lambrusco and the pizza puff, I will be trying that in the next few weeks. And also, I'd say another one that I enjoy, I love Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris. And I think Pinot Gris is fun with chicken dishes. I mean, it seems kind of like obvious, but you know, any roasted chicken dish, any if you saute chicken with vegetables, I think Pinot Gris is just such a beautiful grape variety that really is to Oregon. That is like Oregon's like bay. If you think, I mean, Pinot Noir, obviously, but Pinot Gris is quite the beautiful grape variety. I've had some really dope expressions of Pinot Gris, and I think people should drink more of it. But yeah, those are just a couple that I think. Pinot Gris and salad. Yeah, that's another salad friendly wine. Thank you. But yeah, it's great to sit by itself, but you could also like pair it with salad. And the summer's coming in a couple months.
Soon, I know. So eventually.
Like, coleslaw or like I love summer salads with like, I know Shannon, you said you don't like blue cheese. Blue cheese is girl. I'm gonna get you there. It's okay. I'm gonna get you there. Blue cheese, arugula, strawberries, like that type of salad, baby.
Gotcha.
Amazing.
Yeah, see, I would eat it without the blue cheese, you know. I mean.
That salad, no blue cheese. So I feel it. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. So, you know, I have not had many, I've never been a huge fan of Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on tasting more, just because they're so like, I guess I'll say the ones that I have had, are just super, maybe too light. And it's almost like drinking watered down wine. Yes. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'll give y'all a little bit of an exclusive. It's not that exclusive. Like, anyway, I wrote a piece for Imbibe about Pinot Gris because when I went to Oregon in August, I was just blown away at this one being their grape that I felt like they were like being very like cards to chest about. But I was like, whenever I come across grape varieties that people really aren't, I don't want to say not hip to, but they aren't drinking enough of, I'm always like, I'll write about it. And so with Pinot Gris, I'll give you kind of the difference between the two. So Pinot Grigio is obviously Italian. Pinot Gris is French. They are the same grape. Yes, Elk Grove. Know your stuff. Come on, friends. I was going. That's one I put in the article. Elk Grove, Iris Vineyards, King Estate, the Elkry wines. They're kind of like they're the ones that established Pinot Gris in Oregon. And again, I can, like, when the piece comes out, I'll share it and I'll tag all of these brands in them. But like Pinot Gris in Oregon specifically tends to take on a more richer, more fuller bodied flavor. I would even put it on par, like I would put it on the spectrum with Albariño. It'd probably be a little bit further as far as like richness and flavor and texture. But I agree with you with Pinot Grigio. Like, I was never one to drink it because, like, if you go out with your friends and you look at the wine list and it's like real simple, it's like, oh, I'll take a Pinot Grigio. I'm like, now, no shade to anybody who likes Pinot Grigio, but if you're out with me, I'm definitely gonna kind of look at you like, gee, like, why? There's so many other options. So I'm not the biggest Pinot Grigio fan, but Pinot Gris for me, there's more substance to it. Which I absolutely adore. So yeah, I can definitely send you some recommendations. Please do. Yeah, when I was writing the piece, I went and bought was it 3 or 2? I might have bought 3 or 2 different types of Pinot Gris, just to taste them and get the different expressions. And I took my own notes and then went to the websites and saw how the producers described it. And I must say I was pretty on par with how
of course. Of course.
But yeah, it's definitely a great variety that you want to explore. Obviously, shout out to Oregon wine producers. Oregon wine is like, it's underrated, and I hope it gets it's credit that it deserves beyond Pinot Noir. Yes, there are amazing Pinot Noirs from Oregon, but y'all, their Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, they're doing some really cool stuff up there. And sparkling wine too. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Amazing. They're definitely making their name for sure. I've had a few. Well, I'm always like I said yesterday, Pinot Noir has always been my first love. And so once I tasted Oregon Pinot Noir, I'm like,
your life was changed.
What is this? Yes. It's amazing. It's amazing for sure. So I wanted to ask you about what else you have going on with Wine with Chaz.
Hi, Jenny. Happy New Year. So I will share. So after going through the audit with Miriam, I'm actually
shout out to
Miriam Ahmed, y'all. Also, while I'm here, if you have Sam TV, which today's Wednesday, so a new episode of Sparklers came on. Damn, I'm gonna do that tonight.
Yes, Miriam I watched it earlier today.
Okay, wonderful. Miriam Ahmed, she has a company called Miriam and Company. She is definitely someone, she told me while we were doing our audit that she's going to be working with you towards the end of this month. I'm very excited for you because that's going to be amazing. But during that audit, thank you. I appreciate you, friend. During that audit, a little revelation I had was, as much as I love Wine with Chaz, and as much as that's kind of been my brand over the last, like, I'd say like 3 or 4 years, something that's kind of like perplexed me is when people would email me, like, because I'll tell y'all, in my family, everybody got nicknames, like, you know, so-and-so Bug, so-and-so Bear, you know. I don't. Okay. The only nickname I have in my family is Chaz. Like that, like I don't go by anything else. So like whenever I see like family members in the store, they like, you know, they're like, hey Chaz, hey Chaz. Friends too, like really close friends and good friends that I've come to know. Chaz, Chaz, Chaz. So when I like came up with Wine with Chaz, I was like, oh, or actually a friend of mine came up with it. We were having wine in DC years ago. She's like, I'm having wine with Chaz. I was like,
yeah,
there it is. And so over the years, it's been great when people email me and they're like, hey Chaz, I'm like, I cringe. I'm like, oh, you don't know me like
got it.
that.
You know me.
So I say all that to say, Wine with Chaz, there's going to be, we all evolve, we all change. I mean, you're still going to be able to have wine with me, whether you like sign up with a virtual tasting. God willing, I'll be able to do wine tastings in person, you know, this summer, this fall. So yeah, the brand of Wine with Chaz is definitely going to sunset. It's going to return back to Chasity Cooper. But so things that are coming up, more articles about, you know, grapes and fermented grape juice. You know, definitely working on some other projects, some more personal writing projects that I won't reveal right now, but just get your coins ready, and get ready to support me in that regard. And hopefully being able to travel this summer and be able to share with you all those experiences while I'm traveling. I know when we had talked earlier, Shayna, you're like, oh, you know, we'll talk about this, that, and the third. Italy, like that was probably like a super highlight of my 2021, and being able to go to Chianti Classica boot camp. Shout out to Jeff Porter, who's also on Sound TV. You should go watch his shows where he pairs wine with all sorts of things. But it was amazing to be able to like get asked, one, to be recommended by, you know, someone. I know it often goes like, you know, your name's in rooms that you're not in. And I truly believe that. And I just like thank the person who was like, yo, I can't go, but hit up Chasity. And so when he hit me up, he's like, hey, I got recommended to you by so-and-so. Do you want to go to Italy? I was like, bing bong.
Yes. The answer is always yes.
The answer is always going to be yes. So, you know, my manifestation, my prayer this year is that I get in emails like that to go back to France, to go to Australia, to come to South Africa, South America, or even here in the States, places that I've not been yet, because I think the United States, when we think about wine, we automatically think of California, of course. Right. So there's so many places in these 50 states that are doing incredible things with wine, and I want to be able to explore them. The Finger Lakes. I went to school upstate New York, had no idea about the Finger Lakes after I graduated. Right? Like, I was like, dang, I should have been down here every weekend. New Mexico, where Gruet has their production. Obviously, Oregon, Washington State, even here in Illinois, we're making some really cool wines in the southern part. Michigan, in Traverse City, Ohio. There's so many places that are really doing great things with the grapes that they are harvesting and the grapes that they're growing. So I want to be able to explore that. And really just like talking my ish about wine culture. Like, while I have y'all, I don't know if anybody was watching TV last night or watching the 17
Oh
million
Lord.
channels, the
Yes.
17 million channels that had Black shows on them. But Shayna and I were tweeting live, watching Kings of Napa on OWN.
I'm still stressed. You
understand? No. While I have you, because I went from that high and then went to This Is Us. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist or my doctor or somebody, because like I'm not ready. Like it's a roller coaster of emotion.
Yes,
Between
it
7:00
is.
and 9:00 every Tuesday night.
Yes.
But there's, like I said, Kings of Napa, Grand Crew on
Grand
ABC,
Crew.
which is it's
I watched that today.
Funny. It's so
Funny.
funny.
Yes, it is hilarious.
And I love that Black people are being able to be in a light where it's not trauma related. It's not
right.
We're not struggling. We're enjoying ourselves and we're enjoying wine. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be commenting. I think that's going to definitely be more of a theme for me. I mean, and we've had it. We've had Uncorked. We've had, even going back to Sam with Dylan Proctor. Even him being the for Kevin Hart on his show. Like, we're starting to see Black people interact with wine on a regular basis, and I love that for us. And it's awesome. Nothing new, but we need to realize that it's nothing new, and we need to stake our claim in it and continue to be like, I deserve to be in this space. So as far as the things that are coming up for me, like, continuing to write about wine, do tastings. I'm definitely going to do more themed tastings in 2022. And I love having conversations like this. Like, it's so fun for me to be able to like just talk about wine and food and all that other stuff. But yeah, that's what's coming up for me.
That's awesome. We are definitely looking forward to everything that you have coming up for 2022, and I shall gather my coins. For whatever you have planned. Now, of course, the people here that are watching the live can see what your Instagram is, but as far as your website or other ways to reach you, if you want to give those.
For sure, it's chastitycooper.com, ChastityCooper.com. I'm on Instagram, Chasity S. Cooper, on Twitter, Chasity S. Cooper. Those are primarily like the three ways you can connect with me. Feel free to reach out, DM me. I love answering questions about wine and making suggestions and stuff like that. So feel free to reach out. Like, I definitely want to be, considered as a somm for the people, even though I've not had the formal training per se. I have not ever touched my feet have never touched a floor of a fine dining restaurant where I'm serving. Definitely have been in fine dining restaurants because I like to eat, and I'm fancy and I'm bougie. But as far as that experience, I've never had it. And I love that for me because I love being able to write about it and talk about it in a very approachable way. So yeah, like hit me up, ask questions, tell your friends. If you want to do a personal or private virtual tasting with me, feel free to hit me up. If you're in Chicago, I definitely will be more comfortable doing in-person tastings probably toward the spring, summer, definitely on my charade, like spring, summer, fall. But
after Omarion stops touching everybody,
once he stops doing that, dancing in the rain, I'll be fine. Please reach out. I love being able to help people around wine. And I think when I think about my work, no, I'm not curing any major medical crisis, but I am
It's so
giving people the
important. Very, very
yeah,
important.
it's important because wine is so embedded in our culture, not only
Hmm.
as humans, but as Black people. There's a lot of
Hmm.
rich history that we have in wine, and we're doing some amazing things now that are
Yep.
setting the next generation up to talk about wine, to engage with it, to grow it, to make it ours as well. So that's my spiel, girl. That's it.
Yes. So I want to thank you again for agreeing to curate this box and
Absolutely.
also for just being the amazing person that you are. And I'm happy that we met in
Yes.
Atlanta that fateful weekend. And yeah, remember, if you have not gotten your box yet, please check out pourpairings.com. If this is your first box, there is the New Year 2022 promo code. So you get 15% off. And
Hey.
and also you can get your wine shipped to you from the Wine Concierge Club on Instagram. There's a whole Pour Pairings collection for that. But thank everyone for tuning in and for listening to us chat about wine. And I've enjoyed it
Yes.
thoroughly. And thank you for
Me
being my first
too.
guest curator.
Whee!
Yes.
Yes, girl. Look, I'm happy. Just hit me up. But no, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for what you're doing. This is so important. Like, obviously, we could drink wine all day, but being able to
Hmm.
thoughtfully pair it with things and enjoy the experience. I think that's like what we're
Yes.
looking for now more than ever. So thank you so much, Shayna. I appreciate you. Obviously, I'm gonna text you later on because this was great.
Absolutely.
But no,
Yes.
thank you for everybody who joined. Hit us up, support Pour Pairings, go get your box, and yeah, we outside. Not yet, but we gonna be outside.
Soon. All right. Have a good night.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye, y'all.